Hello, and welcome to the Evolve with Latoya Show. I am your host, Latoya Watson, and I have a special guest with me today, Miss Jaime, who I will be introducing shortly. If you are watching, please say hello, show me some love so I know you can hear me. Please don't forget to like and share. I really appreciate all the support. Okay, I'm getting some likes, so it looks like folks are hearing me well. How are y'all doing? It is rainy here in Connecticut. Hopefully, where y'all are tuning in from, it's not raining. How's the weather where y'all are? All right. Okay, my sound is good. So, this topic is really important to me. Fitness is something that I really think helps me with my mental health. And I'll be diving in a little bit more about that. And I'm so thankful to have Jaime here to help me with this conversation. She is a personal trainer and also a friend of mine and my gym instructor for one of my favorite classes. Um, but yeah, I really, really think we don't talk enough about how important and how significant fitness is with helping our brain. And I don't know your thoughts about that, Jaime, but I really think, and not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but whether it's like big pharma or other reasons, but I just think America as a whole, we don't talk about enough about the significant impact that movement can have on our brains and our mental health and our development and our physical health. Like there's so many benefits.
Yes,
You would agree.
I would definitely agree. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm jumping ahead. Before we dive in, I do want to introduce Jaime. As I said before, she's a personal trainer. She's also my gym instructor at the gym that I go to in Connecticut. And at the end, she'll be sharing more about where you can find her. And if you are interested in working with her or if you have any questions. What else did I want to share, Jaime, about your background? You are certified as a trainer. Yeah, that was the other thing I forgot to say, right?
Yes.
And Jaime, you probably won't be able to guess her age. And I'm so glad I asked her. She's comfortable with sharing her age. Because when I first met her, I was blown away when she told me her age. I still don't really believe it. I'm like, really? But that is one of the benefits of working out is aging and yeah, staying youthful and feeling youthful. Yeah. Do you want to share with folks your age?
Yes, I am.
We're just gonna jump on in.
I actually just turned 55 in February.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
55.
I don't even know why I thought it was
Married for
younger.
31 years, got 4 kids, 2 grandbabies.
Yes.
Yes.
I wish we could do like a full body so people could see your full body. But no, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I can't believe you turned 55. Wow. Do you hear that often?
I do hear it often. I don't feel my age at all. And
Yeah.
I definitely contributed to first having the Lord in my life, but then
Yes.
also being active, exercising has been vital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to forget to shout out, you've been married for how many years? Say it again.
31.
Say it again for the people in the back.
31 years.
That's
And
amazing.
it's getting better and better.
Oh, I'll have to have you on a future show talking more about marriage.
Yes.
Yeah, the last show, for those of you who caught it, do you have the keys to a strong marriage? Was a really, really good show. But wow, 31 years. I know you have some tips, some secrets. Can I ask you, well, we're gonna take a little tangent. What makes you say it's getting better?
I think over the years we've learned each other, and we've taken the time to know each other. But I feel like in any relationship, and I hate to keep bringing it back to spiritual things, but I mean, that's the foundation of our marriage. And that's the Lord. And when we first look at the Lord and what he says in his word about marriage, and we both agree to, okay, yes, I'll do that, Lord, yes, then it's easy. It makes the relationship easy.
That's so good. That's so good. Thank you for dropping that. That's kind of a nice segue from our last show to this show. That's awesome. We're not going to stay on that. Marriage is one of my other favorite topics, but this is like my second favorite. So yeah, I'm trying to stay focused. Let me look at my notes. So first I want to ask folks who are watching about any fears that they have with going to the gym or working out, because we both know that is something that comes up. And if people feel comfortable doing that, please feel free. Jaime, do you mind sharing some things that you've seen or heard from your clients?
Sure, yes. I mean, going into a gym situation can be intimidating.
Yeah.
Because people come in and they're not sure how to use equipment, how to execute different exercises. And so they feel like, okay, if I come into the gym and I try something, I might, hurt myself or I might mess it up. People are looking at me because I'm doing it wrong. So it can be really intimidating. And so a lot of times that's what I find with my clients. They come in and they hire me as a personal trainer because they want to be taught the proper way of how to, use a piece of equipment and stuff like that. So, but I would say the best way to overcome that is you just got to do it. You just got to do it. Whether you hire someone to help you, Google it and find out how to do certain exercises, or just go into the gym. I tell some of my clients when they want to use a certain piece of equipment, I'm like, just get on it. I don't even have to tell you what to do. Just sit there. Yeah. Push it. You'll figure it out. You're going to figure it out. The equipment is not going to have you do it wrong. Yeah. So it's going to execute that exercise for you. So you just got to do it.
It's interesting because I think I was sharing with you, I've been going to the gym for so long now. I actually started as a teenager. I remember going to the gym, but then I didn't become consistent till like 19, 20. So I've been going for so long, but I can't really remember if I had some fears about going on the different machines. I do remember fears about going into the gym and wondering, are people looking at me or what are people thinking? I do remember that. Obviously, I don't have that struggle anymore. And I don't tend to work out on machines. I usually just go to my classes. Like classes, I love my classes. I love the community. I love the accountability. I really love my classes. Yeah.
And with the classes, you find comfort too, because like you said, it's a community. So you have other people around that's there for the same reasons.
Yeah.
And so
people are really supportive.
Together. Yes.
Yeah. When I work out around lunchtime a couple days a week, and like people could tell when I walk in. Sometimes like it's been a morning, but when I'm in there, that just all goes away. The mental health benefits. I really don't think I would be able to function and do all that I do if I didn't have the gym. I really don't. I wear a lot of hats and I have a lot of responsibilities with my family, and work and business. And the days I don't get to the gym, I feel so off. and it's a struggle. Days I don't go to the gym, I usually try to walk. I force myself to walk. Even when it was in the winter, I get out. I went outside. One of my neighbors saw me. She was like, I think it was like a storm was coming or something. And she's like, do you usually like walk or run when it's this cold? And I was like, I'm trying to challenge myself. So she has a dog. So the people who have dogs, they're always walking their dogs. But I don't have a dog. So they're looking at me like, why is she outside? But anyways, um, yeah, the benefits in the winter time, even though it and research shows the cold air like kind of shocks our body, helps with balancing our nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the same way with like why they say taking a shower, specifically even taking a cold shower. You've heard that
Yes, I have.
too. What have you heard?
Well, actually, my son is heavily into fitness, and he's
It's a
trying to get
family
me to
thing.
do. Yes, he's been talking to me for a while for those same benefits. Taking the cold shower really does have a benefit for your overall body. And
Yeah.
I've tried it a couple of times, and the feeling that you have afterwards, yeah.
Yeah. It's difficult at first.
Mhm.
So what I do and what I tell my clients is start with warm water
Mhm.
and then slowly adjust it. And I usually start with my back
Yes.
because it doesn't, it's
Yes.
not so much of a shock
Right.
to your system.
Right.
But when I go outside, like just even for a minute or two, when the after the cold air hits me and I kind of my body adjusts, I feel better. And I feel so good and I'm listening to my music and I'm just like in my zone. Um yeah, there's so many mental health benefits that we don't talk about enough. For those of you watching, please feel free to drop questions. Please like and share. I again, this is such an important topic. I really wish people understood how movement really helps with our overall health. And we're talking about mental health, but we'll talk a little bit about our physical health also. Um, yeah, I just I went off on a tangent, but I wanted to go back to, so we were talking about some fears with going to the gym and overcoming that. And I like how you said you just got to do it. You just got to go in there. Um, and I also want to add on, go with someone if you're able to go with a friend. Again, the accountability that we have in our group classes is so vital. I can text them, I'm running late. And I think I told you, I usually will reach out because that holds me accountable to go in the mornings. Because if I don't text you, I'll know, oh, well, I'm only disappointed. We're more likely to let ourselves down than let somebody else down.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, you've heard that too. So, the accountability piece is really, really vital. Really, really vital. Any other thoughts about that?
Well, I feel that's why a lot of people hire me too as a personal trainer.
Yes, talk about it.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'm coming in and I'm paying for a service.
Yeah.
And I do want my results, but I hold them accountable. I text my people, how was your eating today? How do you feel?
That's
So I
good. I
stay in
didn't know
contact with
that.
them and then I make myself available. Text me if you have any questions, call me. I'm here. And so they know if they have an appointment and they have to come and they have to train, well, you've paid for that session. If you don't show up,
Yeah.
you lose out on that money. So a lot of people,
They're investing.
They're investing. So that's motivation too. I've just paid for a service. I'm not going to waste my money.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a motivator there.
Especially a larger investment, because I've known people who get gym memberships and don't use it because they're like, oh, it's just 20, 30, 40 or whatever you're paying per month, even though it adds up. But a personal coach or a personal trainer, I think they also don't want to let you down, right?
Right.
Like,
Yes. Because I do have people, they'll text me, I am so sorry. You don't have to be sorry.
I
You
know you
know,
feel
yeah.
bad.
Yeah. You do feel bad that, and I think to a certain extent, they do feel like they're letting me down
Mm-hmm.
because I'm excited. Anybody that comes, I'm like, yes, we can do this. So I think they do kind of sometimes feel like they're disappointing me, but.
Yes. Yeah. I felt that. I had a personal trainer in my 20s. And I remember feeling like that at
Mhm.
times. Um, so tell me, I know we kind of, again, we jumped right in. How did you first fall in love with fitness?
Okay, so I've been in the fitness industry for, oh my gosh, over 20 years, 25 years.
Wow.
And that's simply because my husband is a personal trainer. So he
Mm,
started his business almost 30 years ago.
that's a
And
gem for the
so,
singles.
mhm. And so his what he does, he's a personal trainer, so he trains people one on one. So it's a
Mm.
personal training too. So you don't have like that gym atmosphere where there's other people around or anything
Oh,
like that. It's strictly a studio setting. There's
okay.
gym equipment, but it's one on one training and coaching. And
Mm.
so we've been in that field for, like I said, almost 30 years. So being around him, being trained under him, I don't think I was in love with fitness back then, but I knew it was necessary, you know,
Mm.
and necessary meaning I wanted to feel good about myself. I wanted to be healthy,
Yeah.
but I didn't necessarily love working out and being in a gym. Now, let
Yeah.
me tell you what might be surprising to you is
Mm.
about 2 years ago after COVID, I started going back to our local gym,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an instructor there, Rosa, that teaches body pump.
Yes.
And my first
Shout out
time
to Rosa.
ever going to a body pump class, and you know what body pump is, the weights and the music is playing and you have to keep the time in. My closest I've ever come to being a dancer, but but it was just absolutely amazing, the workout and the way I felt afterwards. And I
Mm.
was like, oh my gosh. So every week I was in her Tuesday, Thursday classes.
Yeah.
And finally one day she was like, you really should consider being a coach or a trainer. And I'm like, really? You think so? And she's like, yes, I'll give you the information. And from there, I was completely in love with fitness,
Mm.
completely in love. And here I am now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I yeah, I love the body pump class.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I didn't always love fitness in the beginning either. I
Mm-hmm.
originally went into it because I wanted to lose weight. Now in my 30s, I'm really in love with it for the mental health benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe I'm in love with the dopamine feeling, not the fitness, because I do love how I feel afterwards. That's what motivates me to
Yes.
keep going and keep going back.
Now that's one of the things that I took notes on. I wanted to bring it
Oh,
to your
yes.
attention is that working out releases what the fitness industry calls dose. So dose is dopamine,
Ah,
oxytocins, serotonins, and endorphins. They're
mm,
released every time you work out.
yeah.
And it's that feel good feeling,
Right,
after we
right.
work out, it's like, it's a struggle to get there. But when we're done, all those hormones that's been released,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I'm on a high. Like
exactly,
cloud nine.
exactly. And then
We worked out this morning
yeah, and you
too.
hear people after class all the time. They're done now. They're coming in and it's a struggle, and you see it's a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're done, they're like, deep breath. Oh, this was really good, and they
Yeah.
feel great.
Yeah. The hardest
So,
part is getting there.
mm-hmm.
It really is true.
Yeah. So for
Um,
some people, it's that high that you get afterwards. For
mhm.
other people like you, it's that mental release that you get and that stress release. For
Yeah.
others, it's health benefits. I have to do this
Yeah.
for my health. So
And the confidence, right?
the confidence, yes.
Especially in our
Yeah.
body pump class. Have you
Mm-hmm.
heard that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I feel like if I can lift, and I love, let me, you see my face. I love when I go up in my weights. I feel so accomplished. I'm
Yes.
like, I can do anything. I'm about to send
Mm-hmm.
out all these pictures for emails. Like, it really helps in my business as well. And I would love to do a separate talk about that, because I feel like that's a whole other arena to talk about how it helps me be more confident in my business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why a lot of high earners also work out, because it helps with overthinking, it helps with limiting beliefs, it helps with um, anxiety, depression, like
Mm-hmm.
feeling not good enough, like all of these things it helps me
Yes. Yeah.
overcome.
Yeah.
Usually when I have a speaking engagement, here's a secret I will share. Oh, love you too, Vanessa. Health as well. um yeah, usually the day I have a speaking engagement, I usually work out that morning because it helps me release any jitters or
Mm-hmm.
anything that comes up.
Yeah.
It is so essential. And I really wish this is another reason why I wanted to have this show. I really hope y'all all take away from this the importance of movement. And it's not just about going to the gym. And we were going to talk about some small things that you can do to integrate, like going for a walk, like
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
even just going outside.
Right.
It's so important. There were some other things you had mentioned before about when parking. Um,
Oh, when we go to the grocery store or
yes,
the mall, parking further and taking that extra walk. And then
yeah,
even
get the
just
steps
going to the
in.
mall, like going and walking the mall, getting
Yeah,
that exercise in and then some shopping while you're there.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, the next show is going to be about financial health, but do
Yeah.
you recommend um I can't even think the watches that or anything to track your steps? Do you recommend that to
I
your
think they're
clients?
fun to have. I mean, it's
Mm.
an option. I don't. I have watches and stuff like that, and then of course, your cell phone,
Oh
and
yeah, tracks your
and
steps.
a lot of people like to see how many steps I've taken during the day, and that may help motivate some people to keep moving
Mm.
because
Yeah,
you see one day, oh my gosh, I took 10,000 steps. Let me try to increase that tomorrow.
yeah,
So that could be a great motivator for some people. And I do have
yeah.
some clients that do like to, oh, wait a minute before we start. Wait a minute, let me do my watch. And
That's
yeah.
me in the gym. And when I'm walking, it does. I notice my movement has improved since getting this watch. I had
Mhm.
lost my watch for a little bit. It's crazy. I still haven't found it. But anyways, I got another one. And my steps, everything has increased,
Mhm.
especially the stand. Like I think mine is like 12 a day, like stand up at
Mhm.
least one time in an hour or something. If sometimes this sounds so crazy, y'all, but I'm just gonna share. If it's like 10, 11 o'clock at night and I have one more to get, I'm
Mhm.
like moving. Because I want to win. I want to meet my goal. And
Right.
I share what's cool about the watch. Apple needs to pay me, but the Apple Watch, you you can share it with friends or family.
That's right.
So I share
Yeah.
mine with one of my girlfriends, and sometimes she texts me like, "How are you walking or working out again?"
Mhm.
Or she'll probably see like late night. I'm like doing something. I
Mhm.
don't know. I'll go on my bike, or because I want to meet my goals.
Right, right. But we talked about accountability earlier.
Yeah,
And so something
talk about
simple
it.
like that,
It's
that watch is holding you accountable
it
because you want to
is.
meet your goals. So,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Um, y'all, what are y'all thinking so far about the conversation? Please chime in. Does anybody else find it helpful to track your steps? Whether you use a phone, whether you use different devices. I know for me, it is really essential. Make note about that. If somebody could put that in the chat for me, because that is a really easy thing to do, especially if people are not comfortable with going to the gym.
Mhm.
Another fear that I've heard people say is walking by themselves. I'm a little bit of a risk taker, a little adventurous. Like,
Mhm.
even when I'm traveling, if I'm traveling by myself, I love to walk the cities. I love walkable cities. Um, and I think again, I know that's not easy for everyone. Any comments you have about with walking?
I'm one of those people that don't like to walk the neighborhood by
Oh,
myself, but I do
okay.
like
Is it because
walking.
of dogs and wildlife? Because that comes
Dogs,
up sometimes.
yeah, definitely the wildlife. Yes, and you just don't know, being
Yeah.
out there by yourself, what could happen, the possibilities of something happening.
Do
But
you
so
ever
I've
bring
always
mace or
been.
anything?
No,
Okay.
I've
I
taken like
have
maybe a
that.
stick with me or something like that. But what I do because I don't like walking by myself is I actually go to the local track. There's someone
Yeah,
always over there, whether it's the kids at the school or something
that's a
like that.
good,
And you know what you're walking. So I know that if I go to the track and I go around 4 times, that's a mile.
yeah,
And so I set goals.
yeah,
I'm going to do 4 miles today, 5 miles today. So, yeah, so I go to the local track.
yeah.
Hmm.
And setting goals, setting small goals, that's important also.
Hmm.
Um, the research shows we are more likely to achieve our goals when we write it down.
I agree.
Yeah. So I write down, I've just this year, I've started with really being specific and writing down goals and small action steps. And I review them every week.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
even that is biblical, right? The vision.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Thank
yeah.
you for reminding me.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let me check one of the comments. I'm gonna bring this up. I check my movement daily and I do have goals and want all my rings closed. Yes, it's not just me. Some days are better than others. Yes, I don't hit it every day, but and when I don't hit it, I'm like, oh, I got to go harder the next day.
Hmm. Yes.
It really is motivating. Thank you for sharing that, Vanessa. Um, so going back to, oh, you were sharing about, yeah, falling in love with fitness. And I wanted to go back to, yeah, I didn't always love it. And there are some weeks where, not that I don't love it, but it feels more of a task because I have so much going on.
Hmm.
But I have to remind myself of how it makes me feel. Like you were talking about, did you call it the doses?
Dose.
The dose, that's an
Yes.
acronym.
Hmm.
Yeah, the dopamine,
Hmm.
I think we become addicted to that.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's so essential. And so I think for me, another thing that I went through, and I'll kind of move into how it has affected my health and helped me evolve in that area. During the pandemic, I developed like some weird lower back pain because of how I was sitting so much and my body was not used to that. I was very
Hmm.
always active. So the pandemic happened, I'm working from home like most people. And
Right.
I didn't have like, what do they call it? Those like kind of an orthopedic type of chair. So anyways, I developed these back issues. And so then I had to start physical therapy because it was very painful. And I noticed when I would walk or go to the gym, those days the pain wasn't as bad.
Hmm.
So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to like push myself to
Right.
do this because if not, the pain sometimes was so excruciating when I would wake up in the morning. Even with going to the physical therapy, and then they ended up discharging me. I think maybe 9 months in, they're like, "That's why there's nothing else more that we can do for you. Like you have the exercises, you just have to do them at home." And I
Hmm.
wasn't always consistent with the exercises. Let's be honest. But going to the gym and walking really, really helped me with that. It really, even now, I notice if I don't stretch, that can also affect how I'm physically feeling and it limits what I can do, even at home or with bending. I notice.
Right.
Have you, any of your clients ever talked with you about that? Any challenges?
Yes, the pandemic definitely had that's been a huge problem for a lot of people because they
Mm,
were forced to be at home, like you said. So they're sitting constantly and there's no movement going on because
mm,
they're constantly just sitting there. And our
Yeah.
bodies is meant for movement. And if we
Mm.
don't have it, I mean, those muscles are tightening up. That's where the stress comes in now because we're not stretching. So, that whole stretching, I try to motivate people to, if you are working at home, stand up,
Yeah.
stretch out a little bit, go for a walk around the house for a minute, just take that time, take a few minutes, get up, move,
Yeah.
is important. So,
Thank you for that. I would love for somebody who's watching to put that in the chat. Our bodies are meant for movement. And you shared some tips. Yeah, I have a lot of clients who work at home still. And I talk about even the importance of getting fresh air and sunlight. Like, we cannot stay in the house all day. I don't think that is good for us. During the pandemic, I went to the park a lot. Then I had lived closer to Elizabeth Park, and I would post in my stories about going outside. And I kind of hated that whole messaging about like, stay inside, or I can't remember what the messaging was, but y'all probably remember during the pandemic, right? Yes. It was like something like stay inside, or and that really affected our mental health. I can only imagine the people in New York City, they could not go outside. Like, their parks were closed, and they were told like there were consequences if they were to go outside.
Right.
I just can't imagine. But yeah, the stretching when working at home, standing up, those are good. I used to look like probably a crazy person to my neighbors because I would be walking around the house, or I would be walking up and down the driveway. During the pandemic, like, I had to get real creative.
Right.
It was a difficult time. On another show, I talked about that's when I was becoming an empty nester, and the amount of stress that I had, and I think a lot of it was emotionally preparing for my son to leave, but also there were all of these demands that we had to do in order for him to graduate, and then preparing for college at the same time. I had to drop down to just working part-time. I was so overwhelmed. If it wasn't for me going outside and walking, I probably would have ended up in a mental hospital. Like, when I tell you, I've never felt that overwhelmed before.
Yeah, and that's life. I mean, life can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And you gotta have some kind of outlet.
Yes. I shared in the post about how trauma and stress stays in the body, and we have to release it. The only way for us to release it is through movement.
Right.
Yeah. I want to repeat that again, because that's really something I think we don't talk about enough. Trauma and stress stays in our body, and research shows unresolved trauma specifically can stay in our body for years, even after the event has happened.
Right.
And our day-to-day stress, so it's like it kind of builds on top of that. So we have to release it. We have to release it. So I hope y'all are taking that away. It's so very important. Let's see, I'm gonna go to another comment. I'm gonna start walking and stressing. Yes, thank you for our reminder. Our bodies are meant for movement. Yeah, we only get one body. We only get one body. We have to take care of it. God wants us to take care of our bodies. I really think it's irresponsible of us if we don't.
Right.
And
I agree. We got one shot at it.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? What are you gonna do with your body that God has blessed you with? So the decision is ours, and we have to take care of what we call the temple.
Yeah.
This is God's temple. So what are you going to do to make sure and ensure that this temple is strong and healthy?
Yeah.
So, so it's a sacrifice. Yes, it's a sacrifice to exercising. It's a sacrifice with eating right and choosing. It's all a decision.
It takes discipline. Yeah.
And then what's your motivation for doing it?
Do you usually ask your clients that? Like, do you feel like we all need at least one motivation or
Mm-hmm.
something to stay focused
Right,
on.
right. And I think the top motivation should be, first of all, to glorify God. Second of all, we want to be healthy. We want to live long lives.
Yes.
And, and unless we take care of this temple that we've been blessed with, it's not going to happen with all the elements that's out there and the different
Mm,
sicknesses that, attack our bodies and stuff like that. Exercising and eating right helps to ward off those things.
it
So
really
if we're
does.
not
Say it
doing
again,
that,
Jamie. Say it again.
we have to. I mean, it's vital. It's
It
vital.
is. I was telling someone, yeah, and some of y'all may not believe this, but I feel healthier now in my late 30s than I did when I was in my mid to late 20s
Hmm.
because of the choices that I'm making now. And even in my 20s, I was going to the gym, but I wasn't always consistent and I didn't always walk and those type of things. And I think because my motivation was for different reasons, it
Hmm.
was like, oh, I'm trying to lose weight, I want to look snatched, all these things. Um, but I did not feel as healthy as I do now when I wake up in the morning. Like I felt in my 20s, I think because I wasn't always eating the best foods,
Hmm.
I felt sometimes groggy or low energy. Now I've been more consistent with like juicing, and that boosts my mood, my energy. I try to replace my morning coffee with juice.
Hmm.
Um, do you do any juicing? I don't know
I
if I
I
asked you that.
don't. The
You
only thing I
don't?
do
Oh,
is water. Water
okay.
and lemon. That's it.
Yeah.
So as far as with the veggies and the fruits and stuff, I'll eat them as opposed to juicing. It does
Mm,
take a lot of time to be able to juice,
it
and
does.
I don't have the time to really do that. So yes, I do implement them now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, the water you mentioned. So, I want to segue. I'm trying to be mindful of the time into like emotional eating.
Hmm.
Um, and I know I was sharing with you before, for me, what helps is drinking hot water or tea
Hmm.
before eating. And you were starting to share some things
Well, I do
related to
similar
that.
to what you do. I'll just
Okay.
if we're out and we're at a restaurant or even at home, I'll drink like a glass of lemon water,
Okay.
and that
Yeah.
kind of helps to kind of start filling my stomach. So now when
Yeah.
it's time to eat, I'm not eating as much as I might want to because it looks good.
Mhm.
And a lot of times because it looks good, it tastes good, I'm just going to shove it in. And that's
Yeah.
not
We all do
good.
it, right? I remember when I was a little younger, there was this thing I always used to like, oh, I want to treat myself. I had a rough day. And I used
Hmm.
to always get those like frappuccinos
Hmm.
or a little bit of retail therapy, but more with food and drinks. And I don't do that anymore. And I think that's why also I feel healthy because afterwards, all that sugar,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes I feel like the sugar comes from the devil because the way I feel afterwards,
Hmm.
you're probably really good about your sugar intake. So maybe you don't remember
Oh,
how that feels.
I have my moments. I have my moments.
You
Oh
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
But no, I get what you're saying about that. You feel like the sugar is the devil
It
sometimes.
is, and it's
Yeah,
so addicting. And I
it
have
is.
to,
Mm-hmm.
so I try once in a blue, I will have a frappuccino because I went through this weird time where when I was in my 20s more, I really restricted myself with food
Mm-hmm.
and then I would binge eat. It was just a lot going on. But so I try not to restrict myself. And so once in a blue I'll have it. Or for those of you who follow me in my stories, I buy these cookies. They're like almond flour base from Trader Joe's, and they're
Mm-hmm.
so good. But they're they're lower in like calories and in sugar and
Mm-hmm.
all these things because yeah, it's almond flour base and some other I can't remember, but it's probably still not the best. But again, yeah, I'm learning. What do they say? Like small portions and things in moderation.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Everything in moderation.
Yeah,
As long as you're not overdoing it. Every now and then to treat yourself with something good, I think is fine.
yeah.
So.
Mm. Um, okay, I think I want to do a quick recap if people tuned in late. And please, if you have questions, please drop your questions. Um, One of the things that I wanted to recap, let me look at my notes. Jamie, you dropped so many gems. I really appreciate it. Um, so, what you were saying about if you work from home, stretching, standing up, walking in your home, um, something else you had shared before the show, um, exercises that people can like YouTube and do from home. Can you share a little
Definitely.
bit
I mean,
about
there's
that?
so much on YouTube right now. I
Yeah.
feel like there is no excuse as to why anyone is not
Mm,
exercising, because if you don't feel comfortable with going into a gym, there's so much that you can find on YouTube and you can do them right from your home. I
yeah.
mean, simple stuff. We all know what a squat is. You can
Mm-hmm.
stand up at your computer and do a couple of squats. You know what I mean? Just the
Yeah.
stretching and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can definitely get it in if you're motivated to do that. So, you have to have that motivation to want to exercise and to feel better and, make sure your health is intact.
Yeah. And the accountability, that was another big thing that I wanted to go back to, that we talked about. So definitely make note of that. If somebody could write that in the chat, accountability, having a person or a group or at least one other person, the community really helps
Mm-hmm.
with you reaching your goals.
Definitely.
Um, Any other things that we discussed that you want to highlight as we're wrapping up?
No, not necessarily. We did
Yeah,
cover a lot
I
more than what I thought
know
we would. So,
we did. I
yeah.
appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, the walking, I really want to highlight that.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we were talking about the cold showers or walking in the cold, so important for our mental health
Mm-hmm.
also. Um, in small steps, I really want to go back to that. It's small things that add up over time, right?
Yes.
It's not, you don't need to have in your mind, oh, I have to go to the gym for an hour or I have to walk for an hour.
Right.
Again, even 15 minutes builds up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
5
agree.
minutes.
Yes,
Start
let's
somewhere.
5 minutes.
Yes.
Write 5 minutes in the chat.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. We
Yeah.
have to start
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. For people who don't walk or don't go to the gym, I'd love to hear some of your concerns, if anything that we didn't talk about, if we could help with that. Because I really think, and like you said, it's about having longevity, right? We want to live long
That's
and we want to
right.
age well.
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
tell Jamie and the other ladies in my class who are in their 50s, like, I want to look like that when I'm in my 50s. It's so important for us to have long and healthy lives.
Mm-hmm.
I will share, I've had clients who have developed like health issues, and it sometimes it doesn't make sense. And I don't think, and I'll tell them, I'm like, if it is stress related, and I know there can be different factors, I don't think the doctors will come out and say that, like
Mm-hmm.
some of these issues, but
Mm-hmm.
I really feel strongly that there is a strong correlation between um stressful work environments with our health, or just um toxic stress altogether. There really is a strong correlation.
Mm-hmm.
Um i I just, yeah, I think because stress can store in our body, if we don't release it, it is going to turn into other issues. So, um, I really want to also encourage folks to work out, whether it's for the physical health reasons, mental health, confidence, um, losing weight,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It is, it's really can be life or death for some
You're
people.
right. You're right. It is.
I've known people who have had died from a heart attack at a young age or have had other issues. And doctors were like, yeah, we couldn't find anything. And I really think stress was a big part of
Mm-hmm.
it. So we have to release the
Mm-hmm.
stress.
Right.
We can't avoid stress. We just have to learn how to release it and cope with it.
What I'm
Um,
finding here lately too is when I
yeah.
do get new clients, it's because their doctor has said to them,
Ah,
you need to exercise.
yeah.
And so I feel like, that whole thing is changing now. Now doctors are not necessarily putting people on medication,
Oh, that's good.
so they're
Things are
saying, okay,
shifting.
well, some doctors, and I've had like, I had one client and her doctor told her either you go to the gym, release some of that stress, or I'll
Mm,
put you on medication. Which
wow.
one do you want? And so I think that's the choice again, a choice of either doing it this way or that way. Do you want to be on medication or, it's been proven if you go to the gym, you exercise, you move, it alleviates a lot of that stress, a lot of that depression,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. If I wasn't working out, I would definitely have to be on medication for anxiety and
Mm-hmm.
depression.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. Definitely anxiety. Definitely anxiety. It's such a good.
And if I might, even for women my age that have gone
Mm.
through or are going through menopause,
Oh,
another
yes.
thing, I spoke to my doctor, and my doctor was like, because you exercise like you do and you eat the way that you do, there's no need for me to put you on medication to balance out anything. Me
Wow.
working out and eating healthy did it for
For
me.
your meta. Okay.
For me, yeah, to help balance out
Wow.
all of that emotional,
So you,
stress that we go through. Never had to go
wow.
on any kind of medication.
So you didn't really go through like,
No, I didn't even know I was going through it until they did blood work. They did blood work and was like,
wow.
you're in postmenopause. I'm like, really? I didn't know I was even going through 3 stages of it. But she was like, the reason
Wow.
why you didn't feel any of those symptoms was because you're actively going to the gym, you're eating right, and so your body is responding to what you're doing. That's the
Wow.
medicine that you're getting and
Yeah.
that you need.
Wow.
So,
Movement is a medicine.
mm-hmm, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Um, I'm gonna write that down. I'm like learning things. I tell y'all every show I'm evolving with y'all. It's like
Mm,
it's evolving never stops. The healing journey never
right,
stops.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Movement is medicine. You gotta trademark that if it's not already, Jamie. That's yeah, I've never heard that research with menopause. So you didn't go through like the hot flashes and
No,
all
see,
these.
that's the thing. I didn't start getting hot flashes until I was in postmenopause. But I didn't know what it
Oh,
was. I'm thinking it's just hot in the house and
right.
turn the heat down, honey, because I'm hot. But I was going through menopause. And like I said, I didn't
Wow.
know until we had the blood work. I'm like, okay, now it makes sense.
And the mood swings and all of
But all
that.
that other stuff, all those mood swings and the
Irritability.
depression and the
Yeah.
crying, I mean, I hear some horror stories of women going through menopause and what they
Mm-hmm.
have to suffer through. And by the grace of God, you know.
Wow.
But that's
Wow.
what my doctor contributed to because you're so active, you're working out.
Mm.
And I don't work out every day. The only time I've
Yeah.
been working out here lately is when I teach classes. That's
Got
it.
it.
And that's maybe what 3 or 4 times a week. But
Mm.
I'm teaching class. I'm not really, getting a really good workout in like I would want to.
Right.
But that and then eating healthy. She's like,
Yeah.
you're fine. You don't need anything.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of again with managing my stress, my goal is to work out 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
But four is still a good week. Average, I do about four. But if it's a really good week and I hit five, I feel like great.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it really does help me. It really does help me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go to the comments before we um And Danny said we all need a healthy regimen to release and cope with stress. Yeah, so very essential. Um, Someone else said I had a heart attack a few weeks ago, retired and sitting on the couch. The information was well needed. Started cardiac rehab. Thank you. Yes, I'm so glad to hear that you're starting that and it's going well. Um, yeah, it's I know we kind of did our wrap up. Any final thoughts? I don't see any questions, so we're gonna wrap up. If any final thoughts you have
No,
for
nothing other
folks.
than, like we've already done, just trying to encourage people to, eat healthy,
Yeah.
just move, exercise. If you don't go to the gym, do something at home,
Yeah.
and
And
then
starting
find
small.
someone to kind of help hold you accountable. Like you said, I love that aspect of it, and a lot of people need that. They need that support.
Yeah.
So
And the social connection is so important too.
it's amazing. I've
Yeah.
met some amazing people at the gym.
Me too.
At the
Yeah.
gym. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is an awesome friend that I've just made just going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So and you miss that. You look forward to going, and
You
seeing those people
do.
and fellowshipping with those people and then laughing and stuff. And again, I mean, not just working out, but just that fellowship and you're
Right.
laughing and you're talking. It just makes you feel great.
The social connection
Mm-hmm.
piece is also
Oh yeah.
helpful for our
Oh
well-being.
yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was like, that motivated me. I didn't even think about it till now to go to the Saturday morning class because I haven't seen them at the Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I didn't think about that.
Right.
So important. So Jamie, please share with people if people have, other questions or if they're interested in working with you. I don't think I asked you, do you do any virtual support with if people are out of state?
Yes.
Oh, good,
Yes.
because I
Yes.
have people out of state watching.
Okay. Yes, I do have actually one person that I do virtual training with, so that is an option to be
Oh,
able to do that. Definitely. And they
nice.
can reach out to me on Facebook at Jaime Fleeting Haynes on Facebook.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I didn't realize you do that. That is so during the pandemic, one of the old a former fitness instructor, she did like body pump virtual for a little bit.
Yeah.
Kim, no, it wasn't Kim. Oh, I can't remember her name. Tina. I don't know if you ever met
No,
Tina.
I haven't met her.
Yeah, Tina was great. And I would be there on my laptop. Like we got really creative. So that's awesome that you provide that service. Um, Jamie, is there an email if people don't have social media where they could reach out to
Sure,
you?
yes.
Okay. I'm going to put that
I'll
in the
give that
chat
to you.
too.
Okay.
Go
It's
ahead.
JL, F as in Frank, my last name, Haynes, Haynes, at yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com. Okay, perfect. And for those of you who are in Connecticut, Jamie is based out of Connecticut. If you are interested in working with her in state. And again, my name is Latoya Watson. You can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook under Latoya Watson. And then on Instagram, I am at EMDR Intensives or Single Ladies Coaching. And I will share, I'm very excited about I'm doing more mental health conferences I'm getting into. And I am not booking anything now until the fall, maybe like mid-August starting, but like I'm booked up until then. I'm really trying to prioritize my well-being and take care of myself. So yeah. But thank you for joining in. Thank y'all for watching. Such an important topic. I really, really appreciate your time. And I appreciate all of you for watching. and wanting to prioritize your health. That's why you're here. I'm sure it is. Thank you, RJ. I appreciate it. I know this is not, it's not always easy to prioritize your physical health, your mental health, but this is taking a first step, is just even being open to the information and learning. So may we all continue to evolve. Take care, friends.